Let's have a little chat about setbacks. They need to be expected, anticipated, and planned for. It is unrealistic to think that if you've been struggling with back pain for a long period of time, that you could all of a sudden go in a moment into having a bulletproof back and job done, no more back pain. Now, I know that's the dream of many back pain sufferers. I think it's perhaps what drives people to seek chiropractic adjustments or to see that next therapist who's going to be able to wave this magic wand and fix everything in a moment with a technique, with a needle, with a whatever. And if that was an experience, then you wouldn't be here. You've probably tried it and you may have got that short-term relief, but then you're back into where you are now. And I think it's almost worse to experience a quick release only to find yourself back in back pain because you go on that journey of thinking you're there and then you're not. And this is where I really love the phrase of building a bulletproof back. It is a building process. There's skills you've got to learn. There's practices you need to put into practice. There's movement patterns you need to embody. There's belief structures you need to embody. It's a journey. And setbacks are definitely part of the process. And I like to reframe them rather than seeing them as something that went wrong or I'm on the wrong path, this isn't going to work, or so self-doubt is an immediate response from a setback, or self-flagellation. I'm doing something wrong. I'm getting this wrong. I'm this, I'm that. That's a common one. Anxiety is a big response to a setback. Depression can be a natural response to a setback. Rather than going on that journey, I'd invite you to consider that setbacks are simply stepping stones. They offer feedback. They're just a little feedback. Something needs to be looked at, tweaked, amended. That's it. I'll give you the example. I had a client on workers' comp insurance who had a back pain injury, did really well, actually had surgery, had a disc replacement, doing really well, did all the rehab, and was in the phase where they were transitioning back into their job, which was a job that required them to be on their feet a lot. It was a hospitality job. They went back to work and unfortunately, against my advice, went straight back into full-time work. So here's this person who has not been on their feet for 6 to 8 hours a day carrying objects, but they had been off and feeling really good in their back and was like, yep, I'm ready to get back to work. I'm going. And, you know, that's fine. They get to make these choices. And so they did. And then, predictably, by the end of that week, they were in a lot of pain. And it was a similar pain to what they'd experienced before the surgery. And they went on a massive deep dive into frustration, depression, anxiety. It was awful. And I could see it coming a mile away. It was just simply the body saying, I can't do 6 to 8 hours on my feet, moving, lifting, transporting things when I haven't done it for months. how would one expect the body to react any other way? Because that person had shifted in their identity to healed and ready for work, which was brilliant. But their physical body hadn't caught up yet. The physical body had not been stimulated to be able to cope with that level of movement and weight bearing yet. All that happened was they jumped too quickly back into their old work without the physical conditioning of the body. And the body was simply reflecting that. And that's all it was. So, whilst it possibly could have been avoided, once they saw it as that, and they simply went back to, maybe all I need to do is pause now, get my back to where it was with less weight bearing, a bit more pull work. And if I go back to work on 3 hours, 3 days a week, and I see by the end of that week how I feel, then I step it up to 4, then I step it up to 5, you get the picture. And they were fine. They actually were fine. They transitioned beautifully. So the setback is just feedback. And if we can start to see them as that and we can explore them and say, okay, what is the feedback here? Is it something I'm thinking? Is it a movement pattern I'm just not ready for? There's many, many, many reflections that can be taken from setbacks. But if we enter them with the viewpoint that they're a stepping stone to more, we've just had a little bit of a pause, a dip, a redirection, an opportunity to figure something else out, another piece of the puzzle, then we can move forward. And we don't need to get bogged down in them. We don't need to stay in them. And we certainly don't need to go on that massive emotional journey that most back pain sufferers do. And if that's you, don't judge yourself because it's kind of human. It's very human, but I'd invite you just to do a bit of a reframe, and I hope that helps.